Hello and welcome, my name is Trismegistus, and this is my Let's Play series for the new Factorio Space Age expansion. The intention of this series is to create a save file that we can pick up for streaming. As I record this, there is a poll active on my community page on my YouTube, on which you can vote on which planet I go to first. Unfortunately, I've had to restart this series because there was a huge overhaul to Gleba. That means when we get to the 21st and the game launches and I start streaming, this file may not be ready. I have actually got a save that I can use that we will use just for those streams if that's the case, but otherwise I'm hoping to pick this series up basically as my ongoing continuous playthrough of Factorio Space Age. A big part of the reason I'm doing this as an edited Let's Play series is firstly because it's something I've not done in a very long time, but also because it allows me to chop out spoilers. In this series I want to give as few spoilers for the intermediate planets as I possibly can while we are playing this first part of the game, getting up to rocket launch. There may be spoilers for those planets, but the idea is to really explore them in the streaming series when it continues. The other aim is to not have any spoilers at all for the final planet or the end game until much later in the series. So this allows me, with an edited Let's Play, to completely chop all of that stuff out. It does mean that I won't be able to really show you Factoriopedia, I won't show you the tech tree. You will be able to see what tech we're researching because it'll be on one of the things there, but I will not actually show you those things in this Let's Play. You'll get to see those when we start doing the live streams. The other thing to note is this is a beta version of the game. Following the Factorio LAN party, all of the attendees were given beta access. You'll also notice a special button, the F10 send feedback, which allows beta testers to report bugs, to suggest features, etc, etc. So that button will remain there because this is being recorded on the beta version. Being a beta version, it does mean it is subject to change. There might be tweaks that they might do further overhauls, etc, etc. If they do, I don't know if this series will make it, but yes, we will see where we get to for launch day. So without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, so just to let you know, the seed for this is 331 307 9569. If we look at the map, it is a grass biome start. I would highly recommend your first playthrough being in a grass biome because of the bonus you get from the pollution absorption. I would also recommend having cliffs on because cliffs are useful now, and not to sort of reduce the number of trees or pick maps with few trees because trees are really good as they are in the current game for absorbing pollution, and that's something you really want them to do in this because the buff to the biter spawners, the nerf to the combat systems that you know about, there are actually compensations for that, but those mean that taking on biters is a real strategic decision now because obviously at the beginning they're squishy, you can kill them, but the more you kill, the faster they evolve, and therefore the tougher they get, the quicker that happens. And so you need to think, well, do I want to be messing about doing buff researches and increasing damage and all that sort of stuff, making more military stuff, or do I just want to have them be there and eventually we'll have to deal with them, but not now because I don't want to evolve them. So that's a real strategic decision now. You will notice that there are biters close by. I've done completely default settings on this, and so we will need to take on some of them, but as you see there are very, very small things, and there are quite a few trees. In this particular map I've actually chosen it because I would actually probably recommend having ones where trees surround the patches because that really, really helps with pollution. But I wanted a bit more clear space to be able to build, which means we will have to take out certainly these two pretty soon. Okay, so are we finally done with the preamble? I think we are. So let us grab the bits and pieces out of the crashed spaceship, and then we will go and punch some trees and set up some initial iron smelting. One of the things I discovered in my pre-testing, my other couple of games that I've been playing, is that blueprints do transfer over. There have been some tweaks to blueprinting systems, like adding the parameterization. It has not broken blueprints. So if you have game blueprints that you use in the existing game, they do work as you would expect, basically. Is that a good place for that? I think it's probably the other way around. And that is particularly important, I would say. Let's put a couple more in. Let's give it 10 and 5. That is particularly important, I would say, for rail blueprints, because there's a bit of a quirk. They're still supported. If you wanted to load up an old file, current save, then you can do that. It does work. It will tell you which recipes are broken, depending on where you've gotten to. But it's not as many as you might think. There haven't been that many dramatic changes to the way the game works, and even if they have, they're not just Space Age. We are playing this with both quality and elevated rails on, so that I can kind of show you those. I suspect we will not do a lot with quality, in particular at the early stage, because I tend to prefer a strategy where we... well, I'll explain it when we get to it. There's no point preempting it. 13, is that enough? No, it's not quite enough. So we've got... I don't know what I'm going to do with some of these. Some of these things, there's like icons and stuff. I think I'm probably safe because they're not really showing you things. I might be blurring this in the actual what you get to see, but because you can't tell what they are, they're just icons. So, you can guess at what they are. And some of them you have seen and you do know, but there is all sorts of stuff that's been changed, or they've introduced the actual icons where they had placeholders before, lots of stuff like that. So yes, so what we now need is probably a bit of stone. We have that stone down the bottom here. I already kind of know what this map looks like because I have done the preview. We'll be mostly attempting to stay in this local area, but also to kind of build north of the water. You see there's the lake over there. We'll kind of be building to the north of that if we can. It does mean killing a lot of trees, which is as I say, a bit of a choice now. But 10, 12, can I set up stone? Okay. Yes, I can. So put one of them, get ourselves some boxes. But yeah, so what I'm actually going to be doing in this is using my existing blueprints for the initial build. Okay, so actually, I need to transfer this over, don't I? So this is my blueprint book that I made during a set of live streams, and it has basically like a starter base, like a burner base, a Kickstarter base, a bot base. I will certainly use the burner base and Kickstarter base. I say there are some tweaks that break a few things, but the way they break them is not problematic at all. Rail, I will be using a set of blueprints that I've worked out in my other save. We will not be using my the standard ones I've done. I need to copy it actually, don't I? I need to go create copy. There we go. But this has all sorts of things to get me started, basically. We don't want that. What we actually want to do is take burner base, put it on there, and have a quick check. Yep, so that's what we want, because we do have something here that will let us build. Is that a good place for that? We probably want it there. Let us build all sorts of stone things. Because we just want a bit of stone at this stage, we can chuck a load of wood in and chop these away so that I can see and give me a little bit more wood. So we've done steam power. Steam power is one of the first contextual researches, so you don't actually put red science packs in to do steam power. There are quite a few in the initial game, like the early game. You get a few when you go to the planet, so we'll discuss them when we get there. But there are quite a few, and they tend to give you. There's a few of texts that have been introduced basically. So steam power, in the current game, pre the change, you can actually just build a lot of stuff to start with. But in this, we are kind of limited by that. So I can't really show you these. So you'll have to excuse me while I look at the text. Yes, and in the actual kind of very start of the game, you are basically limited to to doing contextual researches. So to doing those, I've now unlocked this thing by doing a thing. Researches, you cannot actually queue up researches. We have to build some things first. So what we need is plenty of stone. So as per usual, we need more miners. We should get one on copper as well, because you do need to do a research. Unfortunately, the spaceship is crashed on the copper patch. We can work around the actual ship itself, but I'm probably going to have to remove the little bits and pieces. It's a little unfortunate, but there you go. Yeah, so we'll get a a fairly standard mining, coal mining thing on the go. Let's just do in fact 2x2, don't we? Let's put it close to the coal, copper, so that we can possibly, in fact, can't really put it there though, can I? Oh, I could, yeah. Do I have 2? I do have 2. We need to seed it with that. So, that'll chug away and get us a bit of coal. Something on the copper. As I say, we will have to get rid of this, obviously, but such are the problems for a freshly crashed engineer. Okay, get some of that. I'll go. This gives us another trigger tech, basically, because we're keen to get it on the go, even though we don't really need copper until we're building some power. Okay, so that's our second of our trigger techs done. That one, electronic circuits, now is for having mined or produced some copper plate, basically. So your first one you get for mining, or at least producing iron plates. Your second you get for producing the copper plates. So I'm going to show you this tech tree because we are sufficiently early game that all you can see on the left there is like standard text that you know about. You have another trigger tech there, oil processing, for example. So you have to do crude oil. In order to do our next trigger tech, which is the one that then opens up proper science. So you can see it sort of funnels you into, now you need to make science packs. So you get a few trigger techs in order to do that, and now you do science packs. It pretty much drops away. I think it should be used a bit more, but yes, so it pretty much drops away. What I really wanted to show you on this, though, is this button here. Show only essential text. Oh, I can't click that. Okay, I'll blur it out because it is I mean, you kind of know what those are. You've seen them and you can't see the bottom. But the show essential text technology is when you're saying, when you got the question, right, well, what technology level is that? What level is bots? What level is, I don't know, steel furnaces or something like that. So you've got the technology up, and then you've just got this massive tech tree that you can't really see. It also goes forward, you see, but it then tells you what the trigger techs are, basically. So, not the trigger techs, it tells you what the essential technologies are. So, I say, if you're in the thing, you're saying, well, what is the silo? What sciences do I need to research a silo? And you've got the silo selected, and you just click that button, and it just filters it down to say you need blue, green, and red. And that's it. It's not a massive improvement, but it's a nice little tweak to say, well, especially when you've got these massive tech trees to say, and now we've got lots and lots of science packs to say, right, well, what do I need to research? What level of science packs do I need to be producing in order to get that technology? And that just shows you, basically. It's a nice little tweak. Okay, so that kind of shows you the new tech tree and what some of the trigger techs are about. What we need to do, basically, is build a lab. But we can manufacture and build a lab just straight away, but we also obviously need to power the lab in order for it to be useful. So we need some power poles, we need, I guess, some burner inserters. I can't be good at any of them because I haven't got any. What else do I need? So I do have a template for doing a lot of this, so I will be using those. In fact, that's a point I can add on. So we have my basic ones of power. Where's power? Oh, power straight. Looking straight at it. And I say I need to edit this because I need to put the new rail blueprints in, so those will be useful. But we've got defences there. We will put ammo there. Oh, I built some rather than doing that. I've not made armour, have I? Instead, I've just made some iron ammo. So yeah, we need a big old line of these, basically, because you need plenty of iron ore. So yes, because this isn't a Let's Play, I'll probably skip ahead now till when we've got something kind of worth talking about. Okay, so we're about ready to start our first bit of electricity and build our lab, etc. One of the things to note, I think it's worth picking up, is the flip and glip keys have been rebound because and there's a very good reason for that. They've been rebound to V for vertical flip and H for horizontal flip, which are quite good selections, I think. But I struggled. This is when I was commenting in the LAN blog post about some things that they changed that I wasn't happy with. It was about the keybinds, basically, and it's because my muscle memory is for the flip and the clip. But the reason they've done it is because, you know, the F key is also the pick up off of ground, so it's, you know, a dual use key, which is never great. But flip and clip now work in the world, so they don't just apply to blueprints. So if I want to flip this build, which I do, horizontally, obviously I can still do the H to flip it as a blueprint, you know, and the V to flip it vertically. Obviously, basically everything now flips. There are, I think, some things that don't technically. Rail signals still don't, but that works. But you can now also do that for things that are built in the world. So as well as R, you've got both flip and rotate, you know, flip and in both directions, but they're now bound on V and H, and I would not recommend rebinding them, because I did, and so when I was trying to pick things up off the ground, if my cursor was hovering over something, I would accidentally flip it around. So there are all these belts in the base that were just messed up, basically. So unless you rebind F as well, I wouldn't rebind V and H, basically. Okay, so we're going to build this here approximately. I just need to check that this will work, that, you know, we have pipe length. Kinda would be nice if it was closer, wouldn't it? Where does a boiler go? So maybe if we try and line it up with that, if I sort of take that and sort of go. In fact, actually, if I put that on there, one of the things they've added, I'm pretty sure it was Rhaegar who's actually added it, and it was his mod, is the pipe indicator thing. So when it tells you pipes are connected, right? It now also tells you with this, you know, that line, extra line there, what's in the pipe. So, you know, blue is water, and I think it's sort of a red colour is the heavy oil, yellow is the light oil, and that is a mod that Rhaegar developed, and it's now in the game, basically, and it's really useful, particularly for seeing things in the game. The other thing to note on pipes, you remember there was the fluid change, and about people sort of got particularly angry around that you can have infinitely long pipes that, you know, had infinite throughput. And what they've introduced is, you'll see over there, a pipeline extent. And that is basically saying, now it's 250 tiles distance. It's not actually 250 pipeline bits, which is what it sounds like. So basically 250 tiles away is the maximum distance that any fluid will travel. I think it can go past that. I haven't really figured it out in my testing, but I think it can go past that, but the fluid drops off in some way. But what you basically want to do is make sure there's pumps everywhere, essentially. And of course, pumps act more like a kind of a gate in a sense now. They're not really still about pressure and all that sort of stuff. But it means you've got to put pumps in, and you can't just have infinite flow going through. So it's a nice little tweak just to get past that. The problem, I think it was a bit of an unintended consequence for what they'd done. I don't think they'd really intended for infinite throughput. But yeah, so we will just build this in. These trees, and hopefully, if I've not messed this up, my blueprint will fit at the top here. We can always move it, doesn't it? You don't have to align with that. I'll just check. I did make a mistake when I discovered my blueprints, worked. I did make the mistake of laying in all of my defences and all that sort of stuff, and it took ages because you get to a point where there's the bots. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a burner base. This thing here basically is my science builder for the very, very early game. It has a connecting power pole to tell me where the build goes, like that. So that power pole that connects it. So if you've not seen my blueprint series, it is all in there. I'm now going to accidentally get rid of it. There's something that's been changed really in the blueprinting. It's had massive overhaul really when you look at everything you know from the Friday Facts and everything. But you see how it's deleting the blueprint bits. It used to not do that. If you started hitting a tree, it would ignore other things, and it would just keep hitting trees as you moved around. Now it does take out blueprints and stuff underneath it, which can be a little confusing. But part of the reason for that is the whole redo, undo and redo, and more things have been added to undo. So it sort of makes sense, but usually what I do, if I need to clear out an area like this, I just plop the blueprint down. You've also got super force build, but we don't have bots, so the real answer is super force build. But as I say, we can't do that yet. It doesn't have any function, so I usually just clear it out and then just plop it back down again. So that doesn't take too long. I did not actually build a lab, and I have run out of iron. I guess that was because I needed the extra pipe. So we're just going to grab some iron. Get some coal while we're there as well. I did consider one might. I haven't set this on like you know, large start area or everything. It is really just default settings. I did get some questions on my Q&A video, which I'm guessing, yeah, that'll already be done. But I got some videos. In fact, I've been out by it before this, but I got some questions asking about uranium on the map. Uranium still. I've never had a problem with the amount of uranium. I know some people do, but it's still pretty plentiful, I'd say. But there's reasons for that. You know, the space science in space research that obviously uses uranium, as you know. There's no spoilers there, but yeah. Okay, so let's make a lab. I need to fill in these power poles. But yeah, the pipes have had quite a lot of tweaking as well. It does mean one of the big things I was saying about blueprints could just come in. One of the exceptions to things coming over is fluids. So I don't think any of the recipes have been changed, but the way it's been done means that any old blueprints with fluid things in just won't carry over, basically. So, you know, sulfur and cracking and all that, you have to reset those recipes. So that can be a little bit of pain, but it's fine. It's not a problem. I don't know why I've set them up, because all we really need to do is build that guy. I forgot to put that there. We need to make 10 science packs by hand, as per usual, in order to research automation so that we can do things automatically. I am going to queue up a bunch of researches now. As I say, I won't show you this just in case we accidentally hit some spoilers. I suppose one thing it is worth noting on the thing, and I think they have kind of said this, there might not be anything a new revelation, but some things that weren't researches are researches now. So radar is an example. Something that you now need to you actually need to research it rather than just sort of, I didn't put those in. Okay. You know, rather than just sort of, it's there and available. However, I have taken a couple of researches out, so rail is now slightly simplified. It was always one thing I never really understood, where you sort of you research rail signals separately and stuff like that. And it didn't really. It's like, why? Apparently, it was a legacy thing from a very early version of the game, but that's all been slightly streamlined, basically. Yeah, so I'll kind of keep working on this, filling it out, making the bits and pieces, and we'll pick up on the Let's Play in a little while. Okay, yeah, so a little bit of an update. We're not quite there yet. I've not quite filled it all out, but we are getting to the point where most of this is kind of ready to go. This is just a little thing that builds stone bricks, and this will eventually be walls that it's making here. It's obviously one of our first little bits of automation. Another one that is researching is that electric mining drills are now an unlocked research via tech, so you have to remember to research that before you can do proper mining. I've also done unlock lights, so we'll get some of that on. I appreciate it's quite dark. To me it feels like it's darker, but compared to what it is in the current vanilla version, but I think that every single time I start a new game, so it's probably no different. But yeah, let's get some coal in these bad boys. We get a bit more iron. I think our checks have stopped because I've not queued anything else up, but I also strongly suspect we're out of resources. So I've been focusing on this. Now, can I build some more? A couple more. Okay. Update on the pollution. As you can see, we are very nearly making these guys very angry. There are certainly at least 2 nests there. I think there's probably 3 worms maybe, but we'll go and have a look. Also, these guys are very close to getting angry. So what we need to really focus on now is producing like ammo, and I do have turrets, and I've built a few. Why is it not listing those as... Oh, it's 3 of them there. So yeah, so we will go and top up the science, and I can show you that all built out. It does basically work pretty much as out the box, which is really cool. I am going to obviously have to update it and what have you for the new version, but certainly this first build is just still perfect, basically. Well, perfect what I need anyway. Okay. Well, I say that there is actually an error. This is wrong. Well, what happens? So it does sorting now. So this is a... I mean, what I need really is to use the display panels because they're designed for this more. But this here, what it's saying is I will need to put in 8 stacks of, or a ratio of 8 to 3 iron plate to copper plate, give or take. So 8 stacks of iron plates, 8 stacks of copper plates. It sorts it though when it shows it on the thing here. So that looks like it's saying 3 iron plates and 8 copper plates, and it isn't. It's the other way around. But so I need to swap them out for the display things and stuff like that. So yeah, there have been little tweaks like that it's sort of how can I put it? It was confusing when I first encountered it. We'll only put a little bit in here. This just gets me some belts and inserters before they then start being used for green science. I will see if I can get full stacks on. So we need a little bit more copper. If that should be there. There we go. So they don't have anything to research. Because we do need to take out those little biters as soon as we can, really. I've queued up repair pack and walls, so I'll probably pick up again on this Let's Play when I'm about to take them out, basically. Okay, so I added on the military bits to this. I'm not going to repeat the mistake unless I kind of start getting attacked of kind of filling out all of this part of it. We do have 4 turrets and about 50 ammo. I think we're going to go and try and take them out because they are getting hit with pollution, so they're almost certainly going to attack us. We might take them out as well. It depends on how quickly this makes the stuff. But they are saying literally getting hit by pollution, so when we get down there I'm sure there'll be probably a nest. It will also allow the base to kind of chug through and make us a bit more stuff while we're messing about. As you can see, I've kind of extended this significantly. So we will go and see how angry they really are. We'll have a little bit of a negotiation with them. And yeah, I thought so. Some worms on it. Okay, that's very... Oh, crikey. I have obviously done the military tech. I thought we'd be alright sneaking around the edge, but we were not. Okay, so, because what don't want to really go at them with the worms, because we can leave the worms as worms be. The difficulty is that we've got the trees there. So this is a tricky situation, as they like to say. I did research repair packs, didn't I? Yeah, but I forgot to make them. Let's see if I can do that. It's silly, not making any. So we will see if we can kind of sneak up just to the edge of where the worms are particularly angry. You see, just in range, so I have to be a bit careful. Deploy repair packs. 3 worms. Oh, and they're ally. Okay. Lose these turrets. Can't quite reach that other one. Hang on. Right, these. Should have come with more ammo, but so I was just rather aware that they were getting hit. Take them out again. That. And we might just be able to sneak one in. If I take out some trees. It's now gone dark, which always helps. Oh. Yeah. So we don't need to take the worms out because they're sort of irrelevant for... They're not going to... Worms can't spawn biters, so spawn biters. Obviously don't want them there, they are right now prime real estate area. But that will get rid of any biters. Let's go and see how many bits of ammo it made. So usual stuff, you know, nothing particularly spectacular, but it does have a significant impact. It is a kind of rising curve, so in this very, very early game, it doesn't actually increase the evolution too much, so it does give you that opportunity just to take out, you know, these very early guys. And not have too much. How many bits of ore have we made? 28. Maybe look at wrapping the... Oh, I forgot to do the count. But yeah, we'll go and see how much ammo we've got, how much more we can make. We can make a bit more, because as you can see, that took 40 bits of ammo. Why did I put all that? 40 bits of ammo to take them out. I've not done any buffs, I've not done any damage or speed researches. Because they are quite expensive. Okay, so there's plenty of iron. So we can let it chug away. I mean, we should be basically, once we get rid of these guys at the top here, we should be basically safe for a long time, because this is a really thick bit of tree, bit of forest. So these guys will be a threat, but not for a good long while, because that will absorb quite a lot of our pollution. And obviously, I mean, you don't know, but I happen to know there's nothing down here. There's something over here-ish, I think. As you can see, there is another one there. So yeah, we're not safe, but getting rid of these guys is probably advisable just to give us a bit of breathing room, a bit of working time to build everything up. See how many ammos we've got. 38, that's okay. It's just back to... Because I think it's just literally 2 nests up there. So why did I put coal in it? So if you weren't aware, ammo has a 4-to-1. So if you want 100 ammos, you need 400 iron plates. Which brings me to what is probably going to be quite a controversial tweak that they've made, which is that it now... Ammo, meaning particularly firearm magazines, do not stack to 200 anymore. They stack to 100. This was actually a response to... Why did I put 3 there? This was actually a response to what happened at the LAN party, because people were basically... The intention for space platforms is that you will use the asteroids in order to make the ammo to take the asteroids. It's sort of a virtuous circle idea, that you're able to make the ammo to destroy the asteroids, and then use the destroyed asteroids to make the ammo. But because ammo is so cheap and it stacks so high, even those space platforms, particularly early ones, don't really have a lot of the, have quite a limited storage capacity, really. People were just, everyone, and I don't just mean, this wasn't a few people, everyone was basically sending ammo up on rockets, and that was kind of not the intention. So what they've done is they've essentially nerfed the stack size. So they've reduced the stack size from 200 to 100, which means that it makes it a much more... You can still send the ammo up, but it makes it a much more difficult thing to keep full, if you see what I mean. So, if you need, say, 400 ammo to do one of the trips for your space platform, at the moment that's 2 stacks. And I think it's actually 2 rocket loads, I think. We can actually see it's one of the stats that it gives on everything. So you see it says rocket capacity 100. And that is because I'm pretty sure it used to be 200, which is to say a full stack of 200 ammo was a single rocket. So you could send up 2 rockets and you had 400 rounds. Whereas now, you can, if you send up 2 rockets, you've only got 200 rounds. And of course, if you need, as say, 400 to get, to one planet and back again, then you're then talking 4 rockets. You're taking up 4 spaces in your actual platform. So it becomes a bit more of a, particularly early on, a tricky, tricky bit of maths to get round. And so that's the solution. It's a pain. If I'm totally honest, I'm not a massive fan of that. I get it. I fully get it. But it means that where you just want to stick in 200 bullets in a chest and it sits there forever and just kills all biters, it now only owns 100. And if you want to go and fill up if you're building walls and you want to fill up a load of your chests, you can only carry half as much ammunition. So it just means you've got to do twice as many trips. So it's like, I don't know. It does make it a bit of a pain. The other option could have been that they could have, made the damage less on the things, but that would have required a massive rebalance. So yeah, that I think is going to be a controversial change. We need a second one of these. We also need to do all the sciences to make it work. We need green science and all that sort of stuff. So we need a second one of these eventually, but we also need to research like the green science and all that sort of stuff. So I'll just cut forward and I'll chug through, building all that stuff basically. Okay, so I have built out a second one of these. I've also assigned the space, shall we say, for where the boiler stacks will go. We have this chugging away, making the actual furnaces and stuff like that. I forgot to fuel them up. Whoops. Iron and copper is basically unchanged. As you can see, the pollution is chugging away because we don't have as many trees as I would ideally like at the starting point. But as I say, I wanted a bit more space to make my life a little easier and this a little quicker. As you can see, there's quite a few patches being revealed. I don't know if the map gen... I know obviously the map gen has changed, and I did want... That's what the other thing I wanted to highlight just before I round this off. But it also seems to have affected patches in that you seem to get more, smaller patches closer to the base. Again, may just be my imagination, but I mean, this is actually this is unusual in that the second iron patch is only tiny. Mostly on the maps I've been through there, it's a bit bigger, but we do also have a second coal one. But as you can see, we've got more resources, I would say, distributed around. I don't know that the total is any different, but it does feel like you get more smaller patches closer to your starting area. The other thing, as I say, I wanted to highlight some of the map stuff. Let's turn the pollution off. You see things like this, where it's a clear path. I can't zoom it in because I've not got the thing. But this is the type of stuff, to me, that makes the map look much more organic. This flowing thing here, and you can imagine either a water course, or maybe this is some path that animals use, and it suggests more in the way of topography. So I've seen height and water flowing down things and animals moving from one place to another. And I say it just makes the whole map feel more realistic, but it also creates much more of a, particularly until you get the tank, when obviously the tank can just drive through things, but even then you end up sort of driving along these paths with your car, when you're exploring or when you're going somewhere. They feel much more like natural paths to follow, and they do tend to lead somewhere useful. You also get biters that all, sort of occupy a path and stuff like that, That's both good and bad in that it means there's lots of trees around them, and that'll absorb any pollution coming that way. But it also makes the fights a bit tougher because you're having to come up from, you know, the only angle you've got, and maybe there's worms there and stuff like that. So yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to highlight just in this first episode of the Let's Play, is just that, you know, I love the new map gen. It looks really, really good. And we'll see, eventually we'll see, you know, there's a bit of a spoiler, there's like a massive, like, sea almost, you know, up on this side here somewhere, and I think we've got something over here as well that's quite interesting. But it just produces more interesting structures, something's a bit more dynamic than just, this is a basic noise function, we've set a, you know, set a filter basically. Yeah, so that was just the last thing I really wanted to highlight in this. So we'll pick up next time, where hopefully we will get, you know, possibly all the way to green science, that sort of thing. It's pretty much going to be like my Farewell to version 1 series, and you can kind of look and contrast some of the stuff. I think all of the changes in this phase are like improvements, not apart from maybe the ammo stack size. That is a bit annoying, although not yet. You know, it gets annoying later on. So if you have been watching, I hope you've enjoyed it and you might consider coming back for another one. I've been Trismegistus. This has been Factorio. Thanks for watching. Cheers.